Hey movie fans, Tim Burton is back in the mainstream spotlight with the release of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, a sequel 35 years in the making. Burton for me has always been a fascinating director. By no means my favorite director, there's no denying he has a unique style and specific brand of storytelling. With highs like Batman and Edward Scissorhands, and lows like Planet of the Apes and Dumbo, his career has really run the gamut. However, when it comes to his filmography, I think there's one movie in particular that deserves more love and attention. 1994's Ed Wood. Ed Wood is a fictionalized version of the story of Ed Wood, a Hollywood director known for campy, lower-budget schlock, most infamously the cult classic Plan 9 from Outer Space. While in real life, Ed Wood would struggle in the Hollywood system and his story would ultimately have a sad ending, Burton instead turns the film version into a celebration of movies, both good and bad. A celebration of the creative process and the struggles that come with it. In typical Tim Burton fashion, Johnny Depp is cast as our main protagonist, Ed Wood. Depp, like Burton, I think has many highs and lows in his career over the years, and more recently, at least for me, it's hard to see him as anything other than Jack Sparrow. A lot of his work during and after his time on the Pirates of the Caribbean movies just seem to roll together in my brain, and watching Ed Wood, I forget how genuinely talented and skilled Depp is as an actor when invested in a project. Yes, the character is still a kooky eccentric like most iconic Depp roles, but it's the right level of over the top. Burton and Depp are going for a very specific style for their approach on Ed Wood, one that tries to match the lively and slightly exaggerated performances of the 1950s. Wood is portrayed as a happy-go-lucky guy that almost feels a tad car salesman-esque, as if he's trying to sell you on his next picture, which, let's be honest, he probably would be. He's this perpetual optimist in an incredibly cynical line of work. No matter what gets thrown at him, Ed Wood just pops back up with a smile on his face. But in that optimism is where Depp's great performance really shines through. Throughout the movie, you get these little glimpses that the smile and upbeat nature are all just an act. That his optimistic view of the world is an incredibly forced one. A fake it till you make it type attitude. Almost like he knows he doesn't make the best stuff out there, but he enjoys making it nonetheless, until the day he can finally make the big one. When it comes to Wood's forced optimism, there's a few scenes that might shed some light on his true motives. Throughout the movie, he keeps bringing up how much success famed filmmaker Orson Welles had at such an early age. Wood is clearly struggling with comparisons, both creatively and from a career perspective. I think that makes the character so much more fascinating and relatable because we've all been there. Well, this looks so much cooler than what I did, or this person reached this point in their life so much faster than I did, or this person is so much more successful than I am at such an earlier age. It's a very human struggle, and one that makes it very easy to root for Ed to succeed. Ed looks at his career and success as a ticking clock in the industry. On the flip side, he soon makes a friend that the industry decided ran out of time a long time ago. By sheer happenstance, Ed meets iconic horror legend Bela Lugosi, best known for playing Dracula in the classic Universal monster movies. Bela has essentially been cast aside by Hollywood, who views him as a symbol of a bygone age. Lugosi in real life did struggle to find work and be taken seriously as an actor after Dracula. He had a well-known feud with Boris Karloff, the actor that played Frankenstein's monster, which the film plays up quite a bit. Lugosi is played brilliantly by Martin Landau in a performance that would earn him an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor at that year's Academy Awards. Lugosi and Wood play off each other so well in the film because they are opposites attract personified. The harsh cynicism of Lugosi colliding with the eternal optimism of Wood. Youth and exuberance teaming up with the grizzled experience. The man that wants fame and recognition becoming friends with the man that had the fame and the recognition, but was burned by it. Despite the movie being a very cheerful one for the most part, the film doesn't shy away from Bela Lugosi's darker struggles. Bela was one of the first celebrities to actually admit themselves into rehab. But because of Ed's eternal optimism, he continues to see Bela as this great icon that he used to be, instead of the struggling man he was in his final years. Taking this approach to the story makes it so much easier for us to sympathize with Lugosi. We want him to succeed just as much as we want Ed to succeed. The friendship between the two men is really the heart of the movie, as we the audience want to see them both achieve their goals. They both want to be respected. One for the work they could do someday, and one for the work they've already done. The movie also does a great job of throwing in subtle references to Bela's days as Dracula, which, being the horror fan that I am, I really appreciated. From random lines said by Bela,
"But now, The children of the night are calling me.
Children of the night.
To the genius use of Swan Lake as Lugosi's theme music as a callback to that same music famously being used in Dracula.
Bella?
Sticking in the same spirit as those classic Universal monster movies, I love Tim Burton's choice for this movie to be in black and white. Despite coming out in 1994, Burton goes the extra mile in making it feel like it was made in the 1950s. A lot of the blocking, staging, and editing feels very throwback in nature, while the performances, as previously mentioned in regards to Depp, feel right out of the time period. Every character feels just that little bit extra, that little bit more heightened acting that borderlines on cheesy that was so normal for 1950s B movies. I also love how Burton lights a lot of the movie, as oddly specific as that sounds. It would have been easy to just shoot the movie normal, like a modern day movie, then desaturate it later on in post-production. But instead, Burton utilizes really moody lighting and atmosphere for a lot of the scenes. There's a lot of harsh shadows and using the negative space in the frame to focus the attention back on the subject of the scene. It's very reminiscent of both the Universal monster movies and the German expressionist movies before that. Burton has always leaned into that style for his movies, but it could have been easy for him to skip it for this dramedy about a B-movie director. Instead, he kept it, and the movie's better for it. It creates this weird dreamlike state to certain scenes, almost like a not-quite reality. Sadly, when Ed Wood debuted at the box office, it drastically underperformed. So why did this great movie fail? The film had a reported budget of $18 million, but only made $13.8 million. You could probably chalk it up to the timing given its release in late September, but it could also be because of 1994's famously stacked movie calendar year. When Ed Wood was released, it had to contend with The Shawshank Redemption, who also infamously struggled at the box office, Pulp Fiction, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Little Giants, Time Cop, and some little movie called Forrest Gump. It kind of makes sense now why a black and white dramedy about a lesser-known director and his B-movie didn't light up the box office in '94. But the film holds up because it's a timeless love letter to movies. As a classic Universal Monsters fan, I adore how much this movie is a love letter to that time of filmmaking, with plenty of winks and nods to that bygone era. Not just with its use of Bela Lugosi, but plenty of subtle things throughout the movie shows that Burton has a fondness and appreciation for that style of filmmaking. It's also a celebration of movies in that it celebrates all movies, even the bad ones. Ed Wood openly celebrates the B-movie genre because Ed Wood as a character, and probably by extension Tim Burton, just loves stories no matter the budget. Not every film needs to be polished or refined to be enjoyed. There just needs to be some creativity and passion. Lastly, this movie will always resonate with me because it shows off the less glamorous side of productions. In just about any project, all that matters is what people see at the end of it, but there can and often is a whole world of craziness, shenanigans, and chicanery behind the scenes. Anyone that's made no-budget projects can absolutely relate to the struggle showcased in the movie.
Don't you want a second take for protection?
What's to protect? It was perfect. We don't have a permit. Run! Oh, where's the octopus motor? What octopus motor? Say, Bill, which dress works better for you, the red one or the green one?
I mean, I can't see the difference. I'm colorblind.
That cardboard headstone tipped over. This graveyard is obviously phony.
Filmmaking is not about the tiny details. It's about the big picture.
But it's in that craziness that the real passion comes through. You figure out how to make things work within the parameters that you have, and you rely on your team to get through it. I've worked on a few no-budget projects in the past, and the thing I always remember about those days was the passion, the energy, and the fun camaraderie that came with it. Yeah, there's always some challenges, but you find new and creative solutions to those problems. Ed Wood will always resonate with me because it reminds me of those fun projects. Doing creative things with your buddies, with no money, thinking it'll be the best thing in the world, even if it does come out a little rough around the edges. But you keep trying, hoping that at some point, it'll all come together. But what do you guys think? Have you seen Ed Wood. What are some of your personal production stories and fond memories that you have working on projects? Whatever your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. And as always, if you like what you're seeing and want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.